Right, so The Last of Us television show finally came out. I already have a review of the first episode on my channel. You can go check that out. That was a couple days ago video. Today, we are not talking about the show, but we are giving a review for The Last of Us video game. Yes, that's right, this is my first ever game review, and here's how it's gonna go. I'm going to talk about the gameplay a little bit, and obviously I'm not a video game critic, I'm a film critic, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna kind of say, yeah, that was good. And then I'm going to talk about the actual story, the story behind this, and the masterful perfection that it is. Because obviously The Last of Us is possibly the greatest game of all time made, and it's already having a pretty decent show. I'm just so hyped to see the rest of the show because The Last of Us game is so good. But before I tell you why it's so good, please take a moment to subscribe, like button, hit the button, comment down below. What is your opinions on The Last of Us video game? I want to know all that and more down below. With that said, we're going to talk about the gameplay first. And the gameplay, there are people that criticize it for being a little more repetitive than it should. And I do agree that it will be one of the negatives when I talked about the story, is that the gameplay is repetitive. There's no way an old 65-year-old man and a 16-year-old girl should be able to take out thousands of people and thousands of zombies without dying or even remotely getting close to dying. Like, it takes way too long for even one of them to almost die. Like, that's just, I think, is absolutely ridiculous. It starts making them feel immortal, and in a way I'm like, okay, we're getting attacked again. Cool, time to kill them. And it might also have something to do with the amount of times I died, because it just feels like that was what would happen in real life. It just doesn't have perfection, that aspect. But the gameplay is very fun. It's very smooth. The way that when I aim, that's one of the problems I always have. I can easily headshot in this game. It's just so smooth. What's the word? How fast you move and stuff, like your camera angles. I forget the word. If it comes to me, I'll say it. But that's really good. It's just really fun. The graphics obviously are amazing. This is the PlayStation Hits remastered game, so that's probably why I have not played the PlayStation 5, because I don't have a PlayStation 5, but the gameplay just looks good. It all looks good, it feels good, it sounds good, and it is very fun to play. Let's get into the meat of the video, where we're talking about the story, and pretending it's kind of like a movie here, kind of like a normal movie, and just saying, this game has an absolute perfect story. Now, there are problems here, which we will get onto later, but we need to talk about the beginning. First off, the cast here, the voice cast, they feel not like they're talking to a microphone. They feel like they're right next to each other, actually talking, not like, okay, get in the recording room. It does not feel like that. The cast here is really good, and they craft these characters where Joel is a character in the very beginning, which we'll talk about in just a second, where his daughter dies, and then he goes with Ellie, and you get his character arc throughout. You're like, that's a really good character. Because, well, we'll talk about more in the ending. He's not a great character when it comes to that. But when we get to starting about Joel, he's just a really intriguing character, voiced by Troy Baker, I believe is his name. Does a great job. And Ellie is absolutely great. One of the things in the show, and I told myself I was not going to compare this to the show, but I have to say this one thing. One of the things in the show that is so good about the show is Ellie. Ellie just has this unique personality, is funny, is charming. They nailed that in the show, and they set the high bar here in the game. It is such a well-made game in that aspect from the voice cast. It all seems together as well, and the story here is absolutely perfect. It has a zombie thing. It has the normal story about zombies and someone's got a cure, but it shows it in the most emotional way, to where you care about these characters and you feel the emotions that go along. The beginning strikes you with a punch. Like, we instantly get Joel and his daughter, and I thought his daughter was Ellie, so I was sitting back, I was like, okay, that's about Joel and his daughter trying to survive the apocalypse. That's cool. Bam, she dies. Do you understand what kind of pain that put on me? That put pain on me. That was such a great way to begin off this game, and it's just emotional hit after emotional hit after emotional hit. As we go on, we feel like Joel is trying not to get connected to this girl, but he does, and it's just so emotional. And also, as we keep going, there's two characters, Sam and Henry. It's kind of ironic, because two of my friends, they're brothers, their names are Sam and Henry. Coincidence? Hopefully not. Hopefully it is. Because that would be bad. Because if you played the game, you know how their ending is. And it just feels like some throwaway characters that you just meet along the way that help you and they go off along. And it turns it into this extremely emotional sequence to where it was like midnight when I played it. So I went to bed right after and I just could not go to sleep because I kept thinking about this. And it hits you with emotional punch after emotional punch after emotional punch. Great scene after great scene after great scene. Emotional punch after emotional punch. And it's just so well made in that aspect. And the story here, like I said, it takes a basic story and puts it to the extreme here as well. And the cool thing about this is that the gameplay is really well done. And so if you adapt that to TV show, the show is gonna get way better than the first episode was once you get into the zombies, because not only do the zombies look cool, but they each got a unique spin going on. I just think that the whole story here was just a very unique experience for me to play. As probably the most emotional game of all time, probably one of the best games of all time, that's officially what I'm giving The Last of Us right now. It's the best game of all time. Unfortunately, leaving it did put a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And it kills me to say this, the ending sucked. For a masterful game that nails every emotion, that nails everything that happens, and we get to the end, it kind of ruins what we were going for. Spoiler alert for the game. I'm sure if you guys are watching this, you've already played it. Came out in 2014, whatever. But how the movie ends, or how the game ends, is they get there, and we find out that they are going to kill Ellie. And so Joel, which we don't really get much explanation, all of a sudden he saves Ellie, and now they're like daughter and father, and it doesn't really... It feels like we should have gotten more scenes like that, and we really didn't. It's like all of a sudden just click they're father and daughter now. And then in the end, it just ruins everything. Kind of ruins Joel's character because he goes off and kills everyone. Yeah, he kills the good guys. And kind of just completely ruins the thing. Like, I couldn't play this game after just getting to that part. I was like, this is stupid. Why would he ruin everything? They had a chance to bring a big emotional stake here. And they just had Joel go off and kill people and then end the game. And I felt like that was kind of a mediocre way to end this big story. Because even along the way, we get hints that they're getting closer together. But then we just go from fall to spring, or winter to spring. And all of a sudden, they're absolutely perfect together. They absolutely love each other. They're absolutely nice. It just doesn't feel like that would connect together as well. And I know we're supposed to believe that time passed by. It just does not connect all that well in that aspect. And just for that, it just put a sour taste in my mouth, just the way it ended. Why ruin a perfect story to when you could have even won off the game? You don't even have to have a sequel. I haven't played the sequel yet. I haven't even started it. But you didn't even have to have a sequel. You could have just won it off, kill Ellie, and just have the emotional beat. That's how you end it. It would be a definite A+ of a game. But no, that's not what they did, and it just puts a very sour taste in my mouth. But we cannot forget the first 2 acts of the game is just top tier story making, top tier skill level, emotional beat after emotional beat, and I cannot wait till we start getting into the meat of the show and getting into this, because boy, along the way it was really good. What the show needs to do is make the same ending, but make it in kind of a different way, if you know what I'm saying. Like, make them start to feel like family. Make them actually have an emotional payoff in the end. Instead, not just have Joel kill people. And I heard Last of Us 2 ending was pretty bad, so I'm a bit nervous to play that one too, because if you can't stick to the ending, you're only like 75%, 80% great, and then you're 20%, what are you doing here? And that's not what I wanted to say about The Last of Us. That's not how I wanted to end this, because now it just makes it sound like I didn't like it. Don't get me wrong, absolutely loved this game. It's getting an A- for me. From the top of my soul, I really just want to give this an A+. That is really what I want to do, but I can't because of that ending. So it's getting an A- from me. Stay tuned. I'm probably not going to do weekly reviews of the episodes. I might. Depends on if the episodes have more meat and juice like the first one did. But if I do, it'll probably be on my second channel. Who knows, though. But anyways, thank you for clicking on this video. More game reviews. I'm not sure if I'll do any on this channel. I only did this one because the show was coming out, and the show was my most anticipated thing of the year. So, yeah. Game reviews, I will probably start doing them on my second channel, MoreZMC. There's my shout out for that channel. Go give me a subscribe. It'd be amazing if we passed this in subscribers in 6 months. That'd be crazy. It'd be crazy if we got to 150 subscribers in 6 months. So if you're watching, tell your friends about this channel. And with that said, thank you for watching. Subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.